This object is a Nintendo Switch. You may have heard of this product. These objects represent the entire collection of Crash Bandicoot games that are officially compatible with the Nintendo Switch. But there are only 3 games here, and as you may be aware, there are more than 3 games in total in the Crash Bandicoot series, including this one, Crash Twinsanty, officially released only on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. And yet here it is, running pretty adequately on a Nintendo system. I mean, I don't know what's going on with his nose there. I only learned that this was possible a few days ago, and once I did, I thought it might be interesting to see if I could get every Crash Bandicoot game running on a Nintendo Switch. This Nintendo Switch, preferably. Partly just out of curiosity, but also because most of the consoles I own that officially support these older Crash games are actually on the other side of the world currently, so this kind of thing would be a bit more convenient for me when I feel like playing these games. And I also think that playing a series that is predominantly associated with the PlayStation brand and is now becoming a Microsoft IP on a Nintendo system, I think that's a fun way to enjoy the concept of multi-platform gaming while such a thing still exists. So I do have loaded on here every Crash game, pretty much. All the ones that matter anyway, and maybe some don't. And I'm going to boot all of them up on various emulators and things, and I'll let you know what I'm using to play them all. But please don't ask me for detailed instructions on how to do this kind of thing, because honestly, I just couldn't tell you how I got most of these working, especially the PS2 games. I think I tried for the PS2 games, I think I tried following probably 5 or 6 different guides. Every single one of them turned out to be 100% bullshit. I only really got to this stage by just reading all of those guides, taking note of the things they told me specifically not to do, and then only doing those things. And that is how I eventually got this working. So I'm not even going to try to explain what I did because I simply don't know. But I can guarantee anyway that I'm not playing any of these games in an optimal way. And you'll see what I mean as I go through the series. So you really shouldn't pay any attention to anything I say anyway. But I can talk more about the specifics with each game as I come to them. So let's go back to the start and start there, shall we? I thought this platform was going to sink into the water and it'd be a really dramatic way to start, but apparently not, so fuck it. So, Crash Bandicoot 1, the original, and still my favourite, actually, out of anything in this series, so it's all downhill from here. But that's mostly through nostalgia reasons anyway. But I'll start by saying, before anything interesting happens, I hope this setup is not too horrible. This is sort of the best I can do at the moment. I thought it would be better to show all the games like this with the console, so you can see that I am actually playing them legitimately on this hardware. Because, like, if I just docked this and captured the footage, then it wouldn't really look any different to running these on any other emulator, I guess. Although this is a little bit choppy, isn't it? I don't know if you can hear the sound either. But yeah, anyway, I actually don't know if running these games docked if they'd perform any better. Because like this feels alright, but when you hear the music, it's a little bit laggy. But the whole point is, like, I want to be able to play these on the go, pretty much. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to be playing Crash Bash when I'm on a train or anything like that, but you know, if I wanted to play these on the TV, I wouldn't have them on a docked Nintendo Switch. I'd be playing them on a computer that could run them a lot better. So this is Crash Bandicoot 1 for the PS1, and I'm playing this on RetroArch, which is running on Atmosphere, the Switch custom firmware. I don't really... Oh shit. Oh, that was not the best way to get through that. I don't think I quite managed to break all of them. But yeah, this is RetroArch on the Switch, as opposed to Android, which will be happening a few times as I go through these games. It runs as well as could be expected, I guess, on this. Hey, look, I did get them all. See, not being able to check how many boxes you've broken whenever you want, like you can in the remake, adds a little bit of suspense, really. Like in situations like that when you can't be sure you got them all. It makes it a little bit more exciting when you get to the end and you find out whether or not you did it. So for this game at least, just loading it onto RetroArch on the Switch custom firmware works great. There's no weird glitches or anything like that. And the reason why I say that is because of what happens if you try to run Crash 2 in the same way. Let me show you. So this is Crash 2, and so far it all looks pretty okay. It's a bit... Oh, Jesus Christ. It's a bit loud. Yeah, so this is the problem. This is what happens if you use the method I used with Crash 1 to play Crash 2. It's a little bit funky. Now, the problem appears to be that the Switch version of RetroArch that's running here doesn't really work properly with the PS1 BIOS, which they recommend that you include the BIOS to play this core on RetroArch. It's not necessary, and I've played Crash 1 plenty of times before without having those files loaded onto the system, but some games don't work very well without them. And with the Switch version of RetroArch, it doesn't seem to be able to recognise when you actually have those files in the place they're supposed to be. But here's where things get a little bit complicated. I'm going to forget about that for a minute. I'm going to reboot this thing and do something completely crazy. So this is, once again, Crash Bandicoot 2, except this time I'm running on Android. It's still RetroArch, except it's not the Switch OS any longer. It is Android. And it's a little bit annoying to use. It might just be me because I've never used Android before until I put it on here a few days ago, but RetroArch on here is not very good at remembering any of my settings. So when I start a PS1 game through the Switch firmware, it remembers all my settings. It remembers that I like to have it filling the screen. It remembers that I like to be able to use the analog stick and all that kind of thing. This version is not so good with that, and I have to go through all the settings and change everything every time I play a game, which is quite annoying, but it's probably just me. I don't know how to use Android. And also, because this is Android, this is an operating system designed for phones. Every time I start up a game on here, it comes up with the whole on-screen control overlay, which I don't want to use. But apart from that, this version does actually recognise the BIOS files, so it means it is actually playable. And it seems to be running pretty well. If I don't talk to this guy and actually go into a level, I'll see how it compares to the first game, which was a little bit choppy in parts. Maybe it wouldn't be if I ran it on Android. There is a reason why, because I know some people will be thinking like, well, if you got Android on here and you're running some PS1 games on Android, why aren't you doing it with all of them? Like, emulators on Android have been going for a lot longer than emulators on Switch have. Surely there's going to be a way to play every game on Android. The simple answer to that question is, when I installed Android on this thing, I was quite conservative in my estimate of how much of the SD card I wanted to partition to use Android. So I only have a very small amount of space available to use with my Android OS, and it took me so long to get it installed properly that I didn't want to repartition to make more space available. So most of the space on the SD card is still only accessible via the Switch firmware. So basically, I'm playing as many games through the Switch OS as I can, and only playing the ones that don't work properly through Android. But this runs pretty smoothly now. I mean, playing these PS1 games on here is not the most exciting thing in the world for me, because like I've played using these controls, it's not quite as nice as the DualShock. It makes it a little bit harder to do things like the slide spin high jump, whatever it's called. It's a bit harder to skip these sections. But yeah, like back in the day, I used to play these games a lot on my PSP, so this isn't really that different. The screen's a bit bigger, and the controls are different. But, you know, I got used to the novelty of playing these games on a portable system a long time ago. But what I think is interesting is that, apart from the fact I had to install an entirely different operating system to get this one to work properly, generally, it is a simpler process to get PS1 games working on a Switch than it is on a PSP. Because on a PSP, if you wanted to play your own PSP games rather than just those which you downloaded from the PS Store, which admittedly you could do with this one, but other games, or if you just wanted to use your own copy of the game on your PSP, you had to go through the whole process of converting it to a PSP executable file. With this is just a PS1 disk image running on the Switch, which is pretty cool. Although I guess it's running on Android. But anyway, that's Crash 2. And the same problems that I had with Crash 2 running on the normal Switch firmware also happen with Crash 3. So that one will also be the Android version. Let's have a look. Oh, I do love this music. This game, controversial I know, but it's never been my favourite. But this music is a classic piece of orchestration. I think what I'm going to do here, just for fun, is cheat, because it's all part of the test, isn't it? So I'll see you on the third demo level demonstration. Okay, here we go. I'm definitely not going to play this level because I hate all of the vehicle levels in this game, and that's one of the reasons why it's not one that I enjoy as much as the first two. But I do like that you can cheat your way to getting all the power-ups straight away. Is that intentional? I don't actually know. But let's play through the first level and see how we do. It's looking and sounding pretty good. I would guess that there's a decent chance that Crash 1 would work better on here than it does on the version that I played, which may just be because the BIOS actually work on here. But you know, it works good enough. I mean, if you don't listen to the sound on Crash 1, you can't really tell. And to be honest, I'm rarely actually listening to the sound of these games when I'm playing them. Especially on a portable console, I'm normally doing other things at the same time. But Yeah, it sounds pretty good on here. I hope you can see what I'm doing all right. It's a little bit awkward for me to check what you're seeing. I hope the lighting and everything's okay. My setup's a little bit awkward. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the angle that I've got going on, but I'm actually using a Nintendo Switch dock as a sort of phone holder to be able to film this. Maybe hang on, I'll just take a quick picture of this setup so you can appreciate how ridiculous my current view actually is. The final Naughty Dog game in this series. I believe this was their attempt to kill off the series, but it didn't quite go to plan, thankfully. CTR, Crash Team Racing. Let's see. So, obviously, this, like the first three games, does have a remake that is available. I don't know what that message means. There is a remake of this that is officially available on the Nintendo Switch. And I may stick to that version, given my experiences with playing this game on this console. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm going to start up an adventure mode save, and we'll see what happens. And obviously, if I can find him, I'm going to go with this bastard. And my name is that. Exactly the same name as I used for that other save, apparently, because I'm very creative. Let's see how well this runs. And this is still running on the Android version of RetroArch. Again, I assume there's probably some other alternative ways of playing PS1 games on an Android system. This just happens to be the one that I'm using, so leave me alone. Okay, so this is that was the hub world, and that was running pretty nicely, wasn't it? And then I went into a race, and presumably this will work just as well. I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't, except it crashed. And this is the wallpaper I currently have on this Android system. So that's just a little bit of fun, isn't it? But yeah, CTR, it seems to crash whenever you go into a race, even though the hub world works perfectly, and like all the other 3D scenes, like where you select your racer for the adventure mode and the intro and everything, that all works perfectly well. But once you go into a race, it doesn't like that and it crashes. But as I said, there is another way to play this game on the Nintendo Switch, and personally, I prefer Nitro-Fueled to the original. Sorry, let's move on.
Sony Computer Entertainment presents a Universal Interactive Studios production. Developed by Rockline Entertainment Software.
I would say that intro is more iconic to me, more nostalgic than most of the other PS1 games, barring the first game. I did play a lot of this game when I was younger. And this is back on the Switch version of RetroArch. Obviously, it's going to be this guy. Just like Crash 1, for some reason, this one seems to work perfectly fine, even if it's not detecting the BIOS properly. Although, I'm not sure about this intro, because it's never worked properly on like PS2 or PS3. It actually seems to be pretty good. I'm not going to watch the whole thing because I want to throw some boxes at some people and then get on with the rest of the games. But yeah, this is back on the Switch firmware. And okay, it's just restarted. It didn't even crash. It just restarted the game. So that's fun. Apparently adventure mode doesn't work, which is interesting actually, because I have played Crash Bash a lot on this thing before. So I don't know what the problem is there. Give me a minute. Okay, there's something a little bit different about this version. I don't know if you've noticed it. It's only a small thing. I think this one might work better. I don't know why, but I've got a feeling. Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. Apparently, the European version, which I would consider the proper version because it's the one I grew up with, doesn't work. So there we go. American version seems to be okay, and it must have been this version that I played before. I did actually get pretty far in this game before I accidentally lost all of my save data a couple of days ago when I was trying to install Android, and I didn't really understand how the setup worked. But that's okay, because I love this game, and I could play it all day if I didn't have responsibilities. So, I do love Rillaroo. I still think that fixed Rillaroo is the funniest thing that's ever happened in this entire franchise. I want a Rillaroo spin-off where you're playing as fixed Rillaroo, proper Rillaroo, and the main antagonist is the original Nitro-Fueled Rillaroo. But it seems unlikely that that's going to happen. But yeah, oh god. Maybe I should try the American version of CTR as well. Maybe that'd work better. I don't think I have that anywhere, and nor do I have the patience to go looking for it. I mean, this version this game hasn't been remade yet. So, this one I would like to actually be able to play the original version of, if possible. I think I'm about to lose. I haven't really been paying attention. Fuck you, Tiny. Fuck off. Fuck off. I think I'm good. Just run away. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to do any more than that. I think... That's interesting, though. Of course, the pause menu's invisible. The arcade mode definitely works on the European version, but apparently adventure mode doesn't, so there you go. Maybe it'd work if I played it on Android. I don't have the capacity on my SD card, or in my patience to find out. So let's move on. So, we have reached the PS2 era of the series, and the PS2 games are the main reason why I'm doing this in the first place. This is quite a recent release, this emulator. It's called Ether SX2, I believe, and I think it only came out around the end of 2021. I only found out about it the other day. And it's only available on Android, I believe, which is why I installed Android on this thing to try and use it. So the only reason I've been able to play those PS1 games properly is because I already had Android installed, because I wanted to play some PS2 games. So let's see how well this one works. Let's see if the intro's okay. I already know that it won't be, but we'll have a watch all the same. So again, like with PS1 games, I mean, I don't think there is another emulator of this standard on Android that would work on the Switch, but this game was also released on the GameCube, and I imagine there might be like a version of Dolphin or something, either on Android or actually on Switch, considering this is a Nintendo thing. I think there might be a better way to run games that were also released on GameCube, but I grew up with the PS2 versions, so those are the ones I'm going to play. I mean, this is ripped from my actual... Yeah, you can see the audio visual sync is completely off with this cutscene. So I'm not going to watch anymore. Yeah, this is the actual disc image from my copy of the game from like 20 years ago, which I always think is it's more enjoyable to play it when you know it's your actual disc. Not that it runs quite as well as it does on the PS2. I have messed with the settings. All the PS2 games I have changed a few of the settings for. Let's have a go at Arctic Antics, which is a level that I've played quite a lot of for various reasons. And if you've ever emulated this on a PC or something, the PS2 version anyway, you might recognise some similarities in how it runs on this emulator as well. Here we go. This kind of fog, this draw distance situation we've got going on does happen under some circumstances if you emulate this game on PC, and you can see the same thing here. But it's not too bad. It runs pretty okay, considering, I mean, this is a PlayStation 2 game running on a Nintendo Switch, which is something I never thought was going to happen. Like, this has been my oops. This has been my first experience ever of playing PS2 games on a portable console, so I'm pretty happy about this. Like, I always wanted to play these games on a... Well, I always wanted to play these games on my PSP, but that never happened, sadly. And this is like the next best thing, really, isn't it? I have played the GameCube version of this before, and it's... I don't think it's the best way to experience the game, but I don't know. Let me know. As I said, I'm not running any of these games in the best possible way, so if you've found another way to play this game on a Switch and it works better than this, please let me know, and I will not decide to try it myself, because I can't be bothered. But you know, it's perfectly playable. It's a little bit glitchy sometimes, but for the most part, it's fun. I do still think this is quite an underrated game, honestly. I gained a lot of... I'm a little bit dead. I gained a lot of appreciation for this level in particular when I remade it. Like, there's a lot of things they did with the level design that I didn't really notice until I tried to replicate it, and it made me think about a lot of the other levels in the game, and I think they did some interesting things with it. A lot of the levels are not that interesting, but you know, I think I always feel bad for saying it, but I don't feel that differently about this game to how I feel about Crash 3. And a lot of the time I prefer this one. And I'm sorry if that's sacrilege, but I do like this game. And Crash 3 annoys me. But anyway, I'd better move on to something else before I say anything else that'll upset people. So this is the first actual Nintendo game that I'm playing on this Nintendo console. By Vicarious Visions. Love Vicarious Visions. Already, here's the first problem I've encountered. You have to press A to confirm, which in my mind is circle. Which isn't a problem really... I did it again. Which isn't a problem really on the menus, but once you get into playing the levels, it's annoying. Like, here's the biggest problem I have with this game. Like, it runs beautifully on here. It's a Game Boy game. What do you expect? No issues whatsoever. but I want to jump when I press this button, and I want to spin when I press this button, and it's the other way around, and it gives me such a headache. I mean, I know that, like, accept and back are the other way around on Nintendo consoles. Like, it's the Japanese version rather than the Western version, which they do in Western PlayStation consoles. Oh, I did it again. But, like, it makes it very... I don't remember... it's been a long time since I've used a Game Boy of any kind, but I don't remember if, when you play this game on a Game Boy Advance, do you press the bottom button to spin and the right button to jump? Because that seems crazy to me. But it's been so long since I played it on my actual Game Boy Advance, which is a Tribal Edition Game Boy SP, by the way, the coolest version of the Game Boy. I haven't played it on that for a long time, so I can't quite remember. But it takes a lot of getting used to after you've been playing all those other games that use this button to jump and this button to attack. You can still attack with this button. I think it's actually a turbo, which is... I mean, I guess I can get used to it, but no. See, I just tried to spin using this button, which is stupid, because, like, I would always use this button to spin. You could spin with circle in Crash 1, but I never would, because I got used to spinning with this button specifically in every other game. So why am I now pressing this button when I want to spin? I don't know. But, I mean, there you go, Crash XS, what can you say about it? It works pretty beautifully. It's a Game Boy game, it's lightweight, it's a Nintendo game on a Nintendo console, and it's a great game. Next. I really do love Vicarious Visions. Oh, look, did you see that? I did it again. I did exactly the same thing again. Oh, I hate myself. Okay. Oh, my fucking... Oh, God. You've seen how many times I'm pressing this trying to confirm things. I just can't cope with this button configuration. And yeah, you can change it, but then it breaks a lot of other things in the game, and it's just not worth the hassle. Like, you touch one of these, oh, I don't think this one does, but some of them tell you to press B or A to confirm something, and it's like, okay, and then you press it and it doesn't register. Because, like, I've always been a PlayStation person. I never learned which way around B and A are. So when the game tells me to press B, I don't know what it means. And don't get me started on when the game tells me to press X. Like, that's just... Oh, of course, that jumps as well. That looks like a turbo. That's fun. How do you... Oh. I can't even... I can't play these games. Oh, my God. These are fantastic games, but I just really, really struggle with these buttons. And it just makes me want to rush through it and not really attempt it properly. This is the game with the super slide, isn't it? That's always fun. I don't think I'm going to play up till that point this time. But yeah, anyway, this runs very nicely, just as well as the previous game. The Game Boy games, I think, are probably always going to run well on whatever you play them on. So, there's not a lot to say about them, except Vicarious Visions is great, and they should have had a chance to make their own proper Crash game. I mean, I love the remakes, but I would have also loved to see what Vicarious Visions would have done with Crash 4, or Crash 5, which also now seems like won't be possible for them to do. But anyway, I'm not going to play this whole level, because I already did a tutorial level, and it really annoyed me. And I think I'm getting used to it now, but this is pretty much the same as the previous game, and I've got other things that I want to play. So, let's go. Alchemy, my favourite. So this, right here, is another PlayStation 2 game, and it doesn't run quite as well as the Wrath of Cortex. At least I haven't been able to make it run as well, using my limited understandings of the settings available. But it's good to see Vicarious Visions back. Can you skip this? Yes. And this as well. So the FMVs do not run very well at all, which is a shame because they're really good in this game. But the big question is it more successful than CTR? Because with CTR, I managed to get into the Adventure World hub, and then I tried to play a race, and it crashed. Let's see if this works any better. I think it will. Let's go. Bad guys. Cortex just T-posing there. Congratulations, you have unlocked a cutscene. I'm so proud of myself. Is someone going to talk to me? Yes, hello. Can you hear him? Got to save Earth so we can conquer it. I love it. So here's... this is Terra, isn't it? And, oh my goodness me. Thank you. So it's a little bit laggy. It's not as smooth as the remake is anyway. But if I can get into a race, then this is more successful of an attempt at emulation than CTR on the PS1. So let's see how we do. Of course, if it does work, that means I kind of have to do a full race, don't I? I've sort of done the first level of every other game, so here we go. This is... oh god, I forgot how big Tiny is. Can I change my view? Oh shit. So, yeah, it doesn't run super well, but it's not horrible. Again, considering this is a PS2 game, it's just impressive that it works at all, and it looks better than the Wrath of Cortex did. I guess you can kind of see exactly how much lag is happening by just looking at this time in the corner and comparing it to reality. But a problem I think I'm going to have here is with the Team Frenzy feature. It's getting a bit choppy here. That might be these lighting effects. Because I had some problems getting these trigger buttons, which I would think of as L2 and R2, to work. I think normally you're supposed to press R2 to activate this team up thing and get the frenzy where you get a constant stream of power-ups. But I haven't been able to get either of these trigger buttons to work in the PS2 emulator, even though they do work in Android in other emulators. Can you not shoot this? I thought you could. I might have... yes, I did. Oh, there we go. I did actually map it to R3 instead, which is nice. It's a bit awkward. You kind of have to do this sort of pincer, oh my god, situation to be able to spam the power-ups at the same time as you're racing, which is a little bit uncomfortable. But yeah, so that's one issue I've had with the PS2 emulator. I don't know if it's just my controllers. I do have some more I could test it with, but yeah, I can't get the two trigger buttons to work properly. That's okay. Most games don't use L3 and R3 as controls, so you can remap them and they seem to work. Okay, what does this one do? Yeah, there you go. I can sort of... I mean, in this case, I've got it as the look back. If I press the left analog stick in, it looks back, which makes it a little bit difficult to steer at the same time. But, you know, it's a solution. And if you get desperate, you can always turn on the on-screen touch controls, which are great. Let's try this again. And put my hand in an awkward position. This is a great feature. I wish they'd put this in Nitro-Fueled. But they didn't. But, you know, I can't complain. The fact that this game got any attention at all in Nitro-Fueled, I think, is amazing. I have to confess, I did play a lot more of this game than CTR as a kid, and I think this, again, is my copy of Nitro Kart I've actually ripped onto here, so it makes it a little bit more special. I never owned CTR on a disc originally, the PS1 version. First time I bought my own copy was when it was on the PSN store, so I'm a fake 90s kid, I guess. I'm not a real fan. Anyway, I won, and that's all that counts. Is this the 4th Vicarious Visions game in a row? I think it might be. Is it the best one? I think it might not be. I've only played this once, really, and it was quite recent. You may have seen some of that. Oh my god. Oh man, this game. Come on. What a fantastic game. I think it's interesting. I just want to find some kind of mini game that I can play. What happened there? I remember this. Akiraku's going to show me the way to the nearest mini game. Grin and bear it. I'll give it a go. Why is this button now confirm? Why is that the button to go into a level? Is this the jump? No. Oh, I don't understand Nintendo controls. This is fun though. Oops, I did mean to jump then. It's a fun little collection of mini games, and sometimes Spyro appears, and again, I mean, it's just a Game Boy game, so it works. You know, it's not difficult to emulate. Oops, it's difficult to play though. All these games, the GBA games that I've been playing, if I didn't mention it before, are also on RetroArch. They're all on the Switch firmware version of RetroArch. I think the core is MGBA, but I mean, I'm sure there's a million different ways to emulate GBA games these days, and they're all probably exactly the same. So, you know, I'm pretty sure you can emulate Game Boy games just in a browser on a website somewhere. They're pretty lightweight, which is fun, because it means you can play them on anything, and it's really not that interesting to play them on a Nintendo Switch. So instead, I'm not even going to bother finishing this minigame. I'm going to play something else that I think is more interesting to see on a Nintendo Switch. Now this is the big one for me. This is a game that I love with all my heart, despite its flaws, and it's a game that I've wished for a long time I could play on a portable console. I mean, the PSP came out not long after this game, and this was the one PS2 game that I always wished I could play on a PSP, and it never quite happened, but here we are, a very long time later. I don't want to think about how long, and I'm playing it on a portable console, and I'm happy to say that, at least from the parts of the game that I've played, this works better than the other PS2 games I've shown you so far. So that is quite exciting. I mean, look at this, it's running pretty beautifully so far. I did change quite a few of the settings. I just followed the advice of wherever it is that I downloaded this from. It said, like, if the games run like shit, then go into the settings and do some underclocking and turn some other settings on, and they'll work better. And that seemed to work for me, at least with this game. So here we go. This is Crash Twinsanty, the PS2 version. Again, my own copy of the game, running on a Nintendo Switch, and it's pretty spectacular. Oh, I've run out of chickens. Okay. And I haven't run into any major issues with this one. Wrath of Cortex had a lot of graphical glitches. Nitro Kart didn't run that smoothly, but this game, oh, Makes me very happy to see it running this smoothly. Like, especially because it wasn't that long ago that it was hard to get this game running well on even on a PC PS2 emulator. So this is just, I really love this. I mean, it doesn't work as well as the original game, obviously, especially in places like this, where there's a lot of fancy lighting effects going on. But I mean, look at it, and look at him. He's beautiful, and this game's beautiful. Oh. I mean, it actually does look like a PSP game to me, which is really cool. I like that. And you can see whenever you play anything, I don't know if there's a way to turn it off, but on the emulator, Ether SX2, you've always got this little build number in the top, which I think is fair enough. It's quite an achievement, I think, to be able to get something like this running. And from what I've heard, this emulator works pretty well on a lot of phones as well. I am an iPhone man. I'd never used Android ever before until I installed it on this Switch a few days ago, so I don't really know how many different kinds of phones it works on, but it's pretty exciting stuff. Maybe one day we'll get some PS3 games on this thing. And that I don't know if you noticed that message at the bottom, but that's how I can tell that this is still my copy of the game that I dumped on a hard drive a long time ago, and I modified at some point, and I don't have the disc easily accessible, so I haven't restored it to the original version. So occasionally you'll see little messages like that pop up for various reasons. I don't know how far I should go with this. Like, whenever I start playing this game, I just kind of go through the whole thing. I do have... It's true. I do have the levitation code on this, which I just put it on there just to see how well it worked. And when I was using it before, I had the touchscreen controls up. I don't know how to get those back while you're in game. When you have the touchscreen controls visible, there's a little pause icon here, and you press that and you get all the options for the emulator. But when you turn off the touchscreen controls, that disappears. And I don't know if you can get into the settings without it, so I can't bring the touchscreen controls back. But normally to get levitation working, you have to press L2 and select at the same time. And something just explodes somewhere. L2 and R2 don't work in this emulator, sadly, so as you saw with CNK, I did remap these. I remapped L2 and R2 to L3 and R3, but I don't think... Yeah, that doesn't work with the levitation code. So sadly, I can't glitch around the game like this. But, man, I can still play it normally. Sort of normally. I think I just stood on his head then instead of bouncing off him, but that's okay. Why can't I jump up here? Okay, I'm still playing this at a bit of an awkward angle, so please forgive me if I'm not very good at making any jumps. But yeah, just look at this. I think I'll definitely be playing through the whole thing, just not right now. This is definitely still up there as one of my favourite games in the series. But we've all seen this before. Let's move on. So this is another game that was released on the PS2 And that's the version that I always played back in the day. But this is actually the PSP version of Crash Tag Team Racing. The only real reason why I'm playing the PSP version instead of the PS2 version is not because I've tested the PS2 version and it doesn't work or anything like that. It's just I thought the PSP version would possibly run a little better than the PS2 version, since it's already a portable version of the game. And you know what? It actually runs absolutely phenomenally well. This was my first time playing the PSP version, and really the only major difference that I noticed was obviously there's no right stick on the PSP, so to control the camera you just have to hold down this button and then use the left stick, and that's about it. And you know, this game, although you can run around and jump on things, it's not like a difficult platformer at any point, so there's never really a reason why you need to control both the camera and your movement at the same time, so it works pretty well. And like, it runs a lot smoother than either of the other racing games that I've tried so far. And again, I don't know how well the PS2 version would run, but you know, I thought I'd try the PSP version just to be a bit different, and it does work absolutely beautifully. So this is running off an emulator called PPSSPP, I believe. It's a fantastic name. Oops. And I'm failing already. This is a great start to this racing game, isn't it? But yeah, this one is running on the actual Switch firmware, again, back on Atmosphere. But this emulator is also available on Android, and you'll see why I know that quite soon. But I should hurry along and try and get into an actual race, because this is supposed to be a racing game. And you know what? This isn't the most well-loved game in the series, and it's not... Oh my god. I forgot which button is fart. It's not my favourite either, but I'll tell you this much. Since installing every one of these games on this system, this is the game that I've played the most. Like, I've completed it. Not quite to 100% yet, but I mean, I think in the last couple of days that I've been playing this, I'm closer to 100% in this game than I ever want to be in Crash 4. So, you know, I've surprised myself by how much I've enjoyed playing this. I think this game is very well suited actually to a portable system. But this game came out before I had a PSP. So I got it on PS2, and because the PSP version was exactly the same, I never got the PSP version. But this feels like the kind of game that works really well on a PSP. There's a lot of little fun things you can do, pick up and play, and occasionally you might find a racetrack and remember what the name of the game actually is. I think the cars are different on PSP as well, actually. That wasn't the... is it the Tricky, the normal starting car for Crash? I can't remember. So, you know, it is quite different to CTR and CNK, but I've got it running a lot better than either of those games on here, so I've had a lot of fun with it. You know, I think maybe the actual racing isn't the most exciting thing that you'll ever play in your life, but I think they did a lot of good things with this game. I really do like the overworld. I think it would have been really cool to see that same kind of thing applied to a platforming game. You know, it's sort of similar to Twinsanty, but it's a bit more. You're a bit more flexible with how you go about things, shall we say? Twinsanty, you can, once you get into a level, you're kind of stuck with that decision for quite a long time. Sometimes. But yeah, I think this is definitely my favourite of the Radical games, anyway. And I kind of wish that when they made a more traditional, well, traditional is not the right word for it, but a platformer, is that the right word for it? I'm not sure about that either. But when they made the next like main entry into the Crash series, I do think it would have been interesting to see if they'd made like a platformer that took a lot of ideas from this game, you know, with like a big open world, but then put in like normal platforming levels in place of the racetracks and things like that. I think that could have been interesting. I mean, that's what I always, whenever I talk about what I want to see in a Crash game, I always say tag team racing, but like a platformer all the time. I mean, stick some mini games in there as well, sure. I've always said as well, like, don't remake Crash Bash. Turn the mini games into like side quests in a big proper Crash game. And I think that would work really well with this kind of formula. But I haven't actually done any tag teaming, have I? Which is sort of supposed to be the main thing in these races. I sort of forgot about it. Oh well. But yeah. Rayman Revolution is the other thing I always say, which is like the only non-Crash game that I've tried on the PS2 emulator so far, and that also works beautifully well, which is great. Because Rayman 2 is one of my favourite games of all time, but the only reason I ever play versions of it other than Revolution are because I couldn't play Revolution on most things. But now that I can play Rayman Revolution on this thing, I may never look back. I do love that game, and I think they should apply some of those ideas to this series and some of the things from this game as well, please. I think Radical could have done some really great stuff with the series if they'd stuck to some of the ideas they had for this game instead of, well, we'll come to what they did next. But I do just want to show you quickly, before I move on to another game. I'll just prove that I have actually been playing this quite a lot, if I can figure out how to... Let me load my other game. I can't scroll with that thing. Look at this, 82%. This game that I was playing in the year 2042. I don't know why that clock's so wrong. But yeah, 82%. I've only spent like a couple of days playing this, and look, I'm doing things legit as well, like every track, every vehicle, all but one of the outfits. I think the only one I'm missing there is actually Japanese Crash. So yeah, look, this surprised me. When I put all these games on this thing, I didn't expect Crash Tag Team Racing would be the one that I actually just played whenever I picked this thing up and just wanted to play a game for a few minutes. So, good game. Best of the Radical games, definitely. Shall we have a look at the others? No. There's one more we've got to come to first. Now, this is a game that I have not played very much at all. And I don't feel too gutted for missing out on it. This is Crash Boom Bang. And I'll tell you one thing that's pretty cool about this. So this is, again, this is on the Switch firmware. This is through RetroArch, and this is, the emulator is called Melon DS, I believe, which is a fun name. But what I really like about this is that it actually uses the touchscreen. Isn't that crazy? You can, like, look at this. Isn't that fantastic? It's like the full DS experience. Sadly, I have tested this. It doesn't work with a DS stylus. That's a shame. And yes, I do own a Nintendo 3DS. for all the shit that I say about Nintendo, I do own a few Nintendo consoles. I mean, fucking, I'm drowning in these things, really. And also, come to think of it, speaking of Rayman 2, before you hate on me for shitting on the other versions, look, I do love every version of this game. I'm getting sidetracked because I don't want to play this because I don't understand how to play this game. I mean, here's fucking, look at this. I mean, look at fucking Cortex. Jesus Christ. Can I scroll? No. Oh. Let's go Crash, shall we? Please enter a name. Crash. Is there music? We're not gonna listen to that. Yes, my name is Crash. So there's festival mode, there's adventure mode, and there's my room. I mean, I guess I have tried this a bit, but I just don't understand what to do. I also don't know if you can skip this. It's pretty cool though. I like this whole comic book style of the cutscene. Look at this. Isn't he magnificent? The Viscount. Okay, look at Aku there. Oh man. Oh, this runs like absolute shit, by the way, which surprised me actually, because like you'd think Nintendo DS might actually work okay on a Nintendo Switch. Apparently not. I mean, look at this. Like, compare this to how well I was just running a PS2 game. A big open world PS2 game like Crash Twinsanty, a big open world PSP game like Tag Team Racing, and then this is a Nintendo DS game. And it just, I mean, I assume the proper version of the game isn't this slow. Let's go. What do I do? Press that. Be sure to make use of your items. Try them on yourself. Okay? And other players. Sure. I don't know how well you can even see this. Use items to help. Yes, you just told me to use items. Look at all this information. Touch the crate icon. Touch the crate icon. Where's the crate icon? Have I already pressed it? I think I already pressed it. I think that was the menu. First. First. 1000. Oh my god. Player with the most points. What is this game? How long should I spend trying to figure it out? Why is there a tricycle? Can I ride a tricycle? No matter how much you... Okay. Use on yourself. I want to use a tricycle. How do I do that? What have I done? Who? Me. Yes. Am I going to get on a trike? Oh. Crash used the tricycle. Okay. Did he? Oh, shit. I should have done some research on how to play this game before... Move. Yes. What's it telling me to press? Do I go up here? Do I go here? Coco. No. Oh, shit. Here we go. Did I win? Did I win? How far am I going? 3 forward? Where's the tricycle? Neither bad nor good. Just an ordinary square. Huh? There's nothing here. And that, I think, sums up Crash Boom Bang. So for Crash of the Titans, I've done the same thing that I did with Tag Team Racing. This is the PSP version of the game, except this time it's on the Android version of PPSSPP. The reason for that is it doesn't really work very well on the Switch version. There's like a... Also, this is in Spanish. Just ignore that. God, this is unskippable, isn't it? Let me turn the sound off. So the game does run on the Switch version of the PSP emulator, but the graphics are pretty broken. And there's the Android version uses a different graphics driver to the Switch version. So I tried it on here and it works beautifully. So I'm back on Android for a bit. I just about have enough space on my Android capacity to fit all the games that I'm playing on Android on there. Just about. I possibly will not be keeping this one on after I finish filming this, because I can't see myself playing it very much. But I did play it when it came out, and unlike Tag Team Racing, the PSP version is the version that I bought when it came out, because I did have a PSP by that point, and I was buying everything on PSP because I am the kind of person who would prefer to play things while I'm watching TV in the background and stuff like that. So I love portable gaming, and having all these games on here is great. So once again, I never even bothered trying the PS2 version on here. I just thought PSP version more likely to work well than the PS2 version. And you know, this is kind of nostalgic for me because the PS2 version is the one that I had. And oh my god, it's a little bit worrying the first couple of seconds there when that message is coming in. It's quite laggy, but after that it actually seems to be running pretty nicely. Can we... Yeah, so I mean, I don't think I'm going to play very much of this. How far into the level do you have to get before you can actually jack someone? That's what we all play this for, isn't it? Man, I have mixed feelings about this game and the next one. I mean, a lot of things about this game in concept I quite like. And Mind Over Mutant too, you know, they both go back to the original islands. As much as I love Tag Team Racing, it is a bit weird that it's set in a theme park with a weird green cyborg man and some big chickens. Doesn't really fit with the lore of the series that well. And then with these two games, they kind of went back to the roots of the series, and you're on the original, in the original location, sort of, and the original concept of animals being evolved into big monsters. It's just that the gameplay is something completely different. The two Titans games I did really hate for a long time, because for a long time they were the last games that we had in the series. I should have made that point after I'd finished playing Mind Over Mutant, because it would have been a nice segue into what I'm going to play next, but you know. The point is that now that there has been more stuff released since these games that is a lot closer, especially in terms of the Sane Trilogy, to what the original games were. You know, these games are pretty harmless now, I think. Yeah, I feel like these levels are really long, aren't they? I'm pretty sure I have to free Aku Aku before I get the ability to do anything with the Titans. Is he up here? Ah, here we go. Well, I mean, it's Crash of the Titans. I really should find the Titan. Really, shouldn't I? Oh, I've got to fight these guys first, though. I think taking the spin attack out was one of the things that annoyed me the most, you know. Redesign the character, okay. Completely change the gameplay and everything, fine, but come on. Making the spin attack something you have to unlock is... it's just insulting, really. I don't really know why it's in Spanish. But there you go. Right, let's... press R to do something. R to block. There we go. I can read Spanish. I really hope this is Spanish. I'm so sorry if it's Portuguese. It is pretty cool to see some new mutants, like, who aren't just big chicken news reporters, you know? Like, remember Crash 2, they introduced new mutant characters, and then Crash 3 as well. I wouldn't have minded if they'd brought in some of the Titans as, like, playable characters in CTR. You know, I thought it was really cool they put Scorporilla in Crash on the Run. But, yeah, here we go. This is Crash of the Titans. I found a Titan, and I know I've got to play another game that's incredibly similar to this, so I don't want to play any more of this one in particular right now. Thank you very much. Crash Generation Mutant. I'm back on the Switch version of PPSSPP, and yes, this is again PSP game. Again, I haven't tested the PS2 version. YOLO, what are you going to do about it? At least you can spin right from the start of this game. I do appreciate that. And I like, you know, I can't complain about the open world when I said I want an open world game, but, you know, everything else about this is the same as Crash the Titans. And, I mean, you can jump with the Titans, and that's fun. I don't really want to talk to these people. You can jump with the Titans, you can level them up, and all that stuff's really cool, I guess, but it's still Crash the Titans really underneath, and I don't have a lot to say about this game. You can dig in a hole if you want to. It's just like the Crash 2 levels that I hate the most. So that's good. I mean, the things I love about this game, Embryo and the cutscenes. That's what everyone says, isn't it? And there's an invisible wall here. I think that's all I have to say about this. I can't bring myself to keep playing up until the point where I find a Titan. But there you go. PSP games work pretty well on the Switch. That's the verdict from that. And now it's time to stop with the emulators and actually play something that is supposed to run on this. How do I? Oh, I doubt there's much very interesting that I could say about this game that I haven't already said many times before. I've played a lot of this game, and I've done a lot of other things with this game as well. I think it's fair to say, and you know what? I do prefer the N-Sane versions of Crash 2 and 3, but I think the original Crash one is still my preferred way of playing that game. But you know, let's give it a go anyway. Right back where I started, 2 hours and 40 minutes ago, if you're curious. There's been a few hiccups along the way that hopefully I've disguised quite well. You know, I do think this version of the N-Sane Trilogy, I think looks... it doesn't look the best out of all the versions, but Crash, like the design of Crash in this game is not... Look at me trying to double jump because I'm so used to having this game broken. There's a design of Crash in this game is not my favourite. And I think he does look better in this version because of the lack of fur effects. But yeah, generally in this game I'll always be playing as Coco because she doesn't look as horrific as Crash does. Sadly, you can't play as her right from the start of Crash 1, so I'm stuck with this ugly fuck. I shouldn't call him that after all the adventures I've just been on with him, should I? Like, remember that time Crash walked into an empty square and he was like, "There's nothing here." Good times. Amazing. I'm not even gonna finish the level because I've already played this level once today and I know how it ends. Here we go. I think I'm playing on the most up-to-date version here. I don't have any real progress on the adventure mode because mostly I've only played this game on PS4, and when I have played it on Switch, I've played on this one, which is not hacked in any way because I don't want to get banned by going online with this thing. obviously I want Dingo Dial. The problem I had with the PS1 version of CTR was that I could launch into the adventure mode, but then when I went into a race, it crashed. Now, you would assume that because this is the actual Switch version of this game, it should work pretty well. But you never know what's going to happen. Oh my god, it's such a shame that Uka didn't have any dialogue in Crash 4, because it would have been amazing if he'd been talking like that the whole time. Anyway, hopefully this won't crash and I can finally actually play a race on Crash Cove, which I first attempted quite a while ago. This game does actually look so beautiful. Like, looking at this fresh after playing through all those other games, particularly the original CTR, as brief as it was, it really makes me appreciate like how beautiful this game is, even on the Switch. They did a fantastic job with these games. Apart from the loading times, it's pretty bad on the Switch. Okay, see if I remember how to play this. Oh my god. I can't really see what I'm doing that well. I think I'm playing on easy, aren't I? This does feel very fast-paced after I've played so much tag team racing recently. But there's no bowling in this game, which does lose it quite a few points. On my review, anyway. I really haven't been playing this game like properly for a long time. I used to play so much of this on PS4 online, but then they stopped putting new stuff in it and everyone stopped playing it. I have no idea what the Switch servers are like at the moment. I haven't tried that for a long time either. But it was pretty difficult to get any games even when this first came out, so I'm not sure what it would be like now. 3 years later. Three years. Can you believe it? I mean, this is beautiful though. Look at that sun. Oh. Gorgeous. This lighting reminds me of Twinsanty, actually. Remastered Twinsanty, not CTR. That's what I said. But I am glad they did this. Anyway. There we go. Here we go. This is the one we waited a long time for, isn't it? Did it meet expectations? Kinda. I did enjoy it a lot at the time when it first came out, and then I guess my feelings for this game were influenced by external sources and other things that happened between me and the people who made it, but I don't think I wanted to do that, did I? Oh, it's not very convenient to make a new game on this game, but I guess that's fine. I don't really know how far I got on this. I've mostly played this on PS4, and when I've played it on the Switch, I've played it on my other one, and this has just been for messing around and modding. What's this? Okay, I guess apparently I have beaten the game on this save. I'm only at 38%. I got to the point where I'd done all of the Sane relics in the game, and then I just couldn't be bothered with the time trials and all that. I just don't care enough. I haven't played this game for a long time, actually. I do love that they recreate this beach. It's beautiful. This is a weird game, isn't it? It looks different and it feels different, and it's... I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about this game, and I don't think I could condense them all into a couple of minutes of just playing this level, so I won't attempt to. But do I have the triple spin? I don't know, actually. Do you need to... Oh, yeah. I think I've heard that the triple spin is broken on the Switch version. But since I've never attempted any time trials, really, on this one, I haven't really experienced it myself. Well, that's fun. Have they fixed it? Has there been any patches for this game? I don't know. This is pretty fun, though. I do like the rail sliding in this game. That's cool. And of course I love Dingo Dial. Dingo Dial makes everything better. I really don't have much to say. I just said, like, I've got a lot of feelings about this game. But, yeah, I mean, again, I don't think there's any point in finishing the level because this isn't very interesting. This is a game that's made for the Switch. So, there you go. Anyway, I think I've pretty much just covered the whole series on the same console, which is pretty cool. There are just a couple of little bonus things that I want to do as well, besides all of these games in the main series. Starting with, yes, now that I have Android on this thing, it means it is possible to play some mobile phone games. And I'm not going to go for like all the... God, I can't even fit this on the screen. It's such a large tablet. I'm not going to go for like trying to get like Crash Nitro Kart 3D or anything crazy like that running on this thing. But, you know, I thought it would be a little bit of fun just to play this one. I have had some fun with this game. I mean, this UI is horrible. I absolutely hate it. But it's kind of bearable right at the start when you've got things telling you exactly what to press. Once you're sort of left to your own devices and you've got to figure out how to navigate around it yourself, it's horrible compared to the old style. And I don't know what they were thinking, but here we go. This is Crash on the Run, and you have to hold the Switch sideways to do it. It is a nice big screen though. This is bigger than my phone. I have completely given up on this game since they changed the UI though, because it's not unplayable, but it's too annoying to play. I mean, in fact I actually uninstalled the game in order to make room for all the footage that I'm filming on my phone, including of this game now. So that's it's kind of beautiful when you think about it, isn't it? Oh shit, what's happening here? Mini robots. Very scary. What are these guys from, originally? I can't remember. Are they from Twinsanty? Are they the robots from the Academy of Evil? Or are they something totally different? Oh, that was good. Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to play this with the controls. It certainly doesn't do that automatically. It also would be nice, I assume there's some way to, like, I don't think you can tilt this to be landscape mode, but considering it's Android, I'm sure there's a way to do it. But yeah, I can't be bothered to... What do you want me to do? Why is this flashing? Did I do something wrong? Yeah. Crash on the Run. And just as a final bonus thing, just because I can, here is the sort of the start of Crash's comeback, really. I don't think this is necessarily an essential part of the collection of the whole series, but I do like what they did with Crash in this game. I mean, if the Insane Trilogy is one of my least favourite designs of the character, then this may be actually my favourite ever design of the character. And I love what they did with the environments as well in Thumping Wumper Islands. The gameplay, I get it. They had to fit it in with the rest of the game. I was really hoping the first time they showed this off that the remakes would be in the same style as Thumping Wumper Islands. Didn't happen, but can't have everything. But, you know, the whole thing about collectible toys being necessary to play a game, I don't like that concept. But what I do think is cool is that I can take my Crash figure that I used to play on the PS4 version, that I leveled up to max on the PS4. I can't really fit him in here as well. Look at this. You saw the save file on this is like 1% or something. And this guy's at max level, max everything. That's because I played him to that level on my PS4. And then you can just tap the figure on this console and it remembers everything. And I just think that's fucking crazy. Isn't technology just mental? What I love about this is you can press a button to skip it, but it takes so long to actually load the level that you see the entire cutscene before that happens anyway. Isn't that great? These guys do look fantastic though. I do have my Cortex figures somewhere, but I can't be bothered to look for them. So yeah, as I said right at the start, I feel like doing this, playing all these games based on a traditionally PlayStation mascot on a Nintendo console, is kind of a nice way to respond to the news about Microsoft now being in charge of Crash. And you know what? I think the pinnacle of that, the epitome of that, is having this figure loaded up with data from a PS4 game that I've now copied onto this game. And Microsoft owns it all. How wild is that? ZR, is that what this button's actually called? I don't think I knew that. I also don't know how to use this. But it looks pretty cool. I definitely prefer the combat in this game to Crash of the Titans. I think they did a much more faithful job of coming up with a moveset for Crash. I mean, look at this. Mental. Anyway, I think I've just about had enough of this. This has been fun. But yeah, I think I've broken it. Actually, I think because I've been using these on, I've been Bluetoothing these to the tablet when it's in Android mode. It doesn't recognise them anymore outside of that. So that's good. That's a good way to end this, I think. Just dismantle the thing until it stops working. In fact, fuck off over there. And we can end with this guy. I certainly found it interesting to go through all these games. I hope someone else at some point did too. But please, if I did anything really stupid, if there's a better way to run any of these games, then please let me know. I'm sure the best way to do it would be probably to run them all in Android. I don't think I found anything that worked better in the Switch OS than it did on Android, apart from the Switch games, of course. I'm so happy I finally got a portable version of Crash Twinsanty, and I'm surprised that it's actually Crash Tag Team Racing that I've been playing the most since I did this. I think I'm going to delete the Titans games, but leave most of the rest of them on there. I'll definitely give Crash Boom Bang another go. I'm determined to understand that game at some point in my life. But anyway, before all of that, I need to go to bed. Good night.